What's up, everyone? Aaron Nagler here for Cheesehead TV, coming to you live with your Packers Daily Chat. Wherever you are on the internet, that's where we want to be because we're dedicated to you, Green Bay Packers fans worldwide, even in the depths of the offseason, which we most certainly are in. And that doesn't matter to the people here jumping on the live chat. Always good to see everybody. Matub, what's up? Nice to see you mixing it up today on Twitter. Andrew, what's up? How you doing? Adam, thanks so much for being here so you won't get fined. Oh, the lovely day in the Twitterverse and the Packers blogosphere. Always stuff to talk about. I do get asked every once in a while, mostly by people who don't follow the Packers religiously, what do you talk about in the offseason? Like, what could you possibly talk about? There's always something to talk about, even when there's nothing to talk about. And that's the beauty of the Green Bay Packers. That's the beauty of Cheesehead TV being devoted to Packers fans worldwide, because look, you guys want to chat some Packers, we want to talk some Packers, let's have at it. Nagler, which player do you feel is make or break year for? Ooh, Julian, coming in hot out of the gate. A make or break year this year, it's got to be Kevin King, right? I mean, and I know it's an unfortunate way of looking at it because he has had a tough run with injuries, but he's got to stay on the field. He's got to show that he can play 16 games. The level of play isn't the concern. You hope to continue to see development there, but you definitely want to see him be able to fight through some injuries and stay on the field. Now, even when I say fight through the injuries, that's a bit of a misnomer because undoubtedly, especially that first year, I would think he was probably shut down, despite the fact that if they had been in contention, if they had been making a run, maybe they allow him to try and push through it. But I tend to think that was the medical staff just knowing that it was time to shut it down for the offseason. From London, what's up? How are you? Matub, it's all good, man. I was mostly joking. What beer is your favorite, Riley? I'll tell you what, the beer that is my favorite is the one that's out there right now, somewhere in the universe, thinking, you know what? If only we had a way of communicating to diehard Green Bay Packers fans around the world on a consistent basis, if we had some kind of spokesman who would talk to those people every single day about his favorite beer and then sign a monstrous check over to Cheesehead TV. That, my friend, that's the beer that is my favorite. Who replaces Cobb's production in your offense? Now the obvious joke there is, what production? Ha, ha, ha. But when he was on the field, he was productive. Of course, he wasn't on the field a whole heck of a lot these last few years. I don't think you're going to see a one-for-one type of replacement. I don't think you're ever going to find a guy who, is utilized the way Cobb was when McCarthy was in town and Rodgers was throwing to him. I do think you'll see a good deal of disparate types of production, whether that is guys running in the slot, whether that is passes to a running back, whether that is the tight ends getting involved a little bit more. You got to remember, it's a completely different system being utilized now, and I do think those targets and that production after the catch will be distributed throughout the offensive roster. One thing to remember when you're thinking about those types of things, and it feels suspiciously like a fantasy football question. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised with how much of the receiving catches, yardages, etc., all the production from the receiving standpoint is going to be not soaked up, but you're going to see a lot more taken up by the running back position. And that's obviously Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, Dexter Williams. These guys, I think, are going to be much more involved in the passing game than Packers fans have been used to for a good long while now. Screw the beer deal, Nags. Already committed to finding a low-level tequila. There you go. I like it. Why are people texting me when I'm chatting with people worldwide? Hey, Nags, looking forward to Kumaro in this offense. Mike, I am too. I think it was funny because I've been going through the roster trying to put together a database of video clips that I think kind of highlight their strengths and weaknesses. And with Kumaro, I think he really could, I don't want to say explode, but I do think he could be incredibly productive if given the chance and the opportunity. And I do think with this entire receiving core, there's a lot of untapped potential, including with Kumaro, But man, you look at the years of experience or the lack thereof. You've got Devontae Adams with 6 years. You've got Geronimo Allison and Trevor Davis with 4 years each. And then after that, everybody is 2 years or below. That's 11 out of 11 dudes. 3 of them have more than 3 years experience, and then everybody else is 2 or less. And a lot of that is 1 year and rookies. So there's a lot of youth there, a lot of inexperience, a lot of untapped potential. And I do think Kumaro, of that bunch, I think he's probably got the most quote-unquote experience. Now, not necessarily on a regular season field, but whether it be on a practice squad, in a preseason game. Clearly, like, he's worked with Aaron Rodgers plenty now. So, if you're looking for someone to emerge from that kind of morass of inexperience, I think he'd be your best bet. Hot take. Dexter Williams beats out Jamal. Thoughts? I don't think that's that hot. I mean, you never really know. With a new system, new coaching staff, they're not married to Jamal Williams. I think most likely he'll get first crack at backing up Aaron Jones and or being in the mix to split carries with him. But, all it's going to take is Dexter coming in, making some noise in camp, being productive, not making mistakes, and not putting the ball on the ground. But if he's productive in continual opportunities, he has absolutely every chance to steal touches from Jamal, if not jump ahead of him. Hearing some good things about MVS out of camp. How big do you think his jump will be this year? Ross, anybody who's watched me for any length of time knows I really like his upside. I think the ceiling is very high for MVS. I'm interested to see how much they utilize him across the formation. He's been running primarily on the perimeter. That's not to say he can't kick inside, because he can, but I do think he will be predominantly opposite Adams on the outside. And you have to think, with coverage rolling towards Adams, predictably, he's going to be afforded a lot of one-on-one opportunities. If and when those happen, he's got to take advantage of them. Rodgers has got to find him, and then he's got to make the play. That's a lot of stuff that's got to happen. But I do think you're going to see more and more of that as the year goes on. I'm not ready to say he's going to be a fantasy darling, the new Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm not saying any of that. But I do think he can be incredibly productive given the way things set up opposite him. Nags, did you watch the USA-Spain game? Steven, I did intermittently while I was at work. That was a weak as hell penalty call in that second one, but I'll take it. Should be a wake-up call for the U.S., though. Woo, wow. What a choice question. Aaron Ripkowski, Quinn Johnson, or Nick Lucci. Was it Luce? I can't never remember. Give me Quinn Johnson, actually. And I love Rip, but, man, I loved Quinn when he would truck fools in the I formation. And he can actually catch the ball out of the backfield, too. And he never fumbled in a playoff game. Oh, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. I should not do that. MVS is as old as Kenny Clark. That's insane. I don't know if it's insane, but it is. It speaks to what a great situation the Packers have with Kenny Clark. What's up, Germany? Polarizing question from Germany. Are QB wins a meaningful stat? No. Oh, Grabkowski, what kind of question is this? Corn dog or cheese curds? Cheese curds, of course. Come on. That doesn't even approach a question. Nags, do you think the Chicago Bears could be like the 2018 Jaguars? Ooh, Alex. In the framework of your question, could they be? Yes. Do I expect them to be? Do I think they will be? No. I think they're going to be tough as hell. But, yes, I think absolutely the possibility exists that they could have a similar tumble. No doubt about it. Ripkowski's fumble in the Mercedes-Benz Dome will never be forgotten. Spencer, I tend to agree. Dude, how's the rookie running back looking? Oh, it's impossible to say at this point. There hasn't been a whole lot around, any of the guys in the running game, just because they can't really practice it because they haven't had pads on yet. Wait till we get to training camp, and once they're really working on the running game, then we'll start to see what Dexter brings to the table. Matub. I'm not, Matub, you can't do it, buddy. You cannot do it. You can't pull me into it. I choose life. Andre, what is wrong with Aaron Rodgers there, fighting with the coach? Rodgers is not fighting with the coach. I did a whole thing on this last week about how the internet has interpreted him, Aaron, wanting to maintain control at the line of scrimmage and talking to Mike Silver about it. And the internet has blown it up into this huge thing like fighting with the coach, which he is not. He is working with the coach, and he has opinions, which he's allowed to do because he's a two-time MVP, Super Bowl MVP quarterback. It's pretty simple. It's a good thing. I'm late, but here. Jordan, thanks, buddy. Glad to see you. Riley, that is the best prompt ever. If O.J. Simpson wanted to go to any Packers game, where could he find a ticket? I'll tell you what, O.J. or anyone else could just head to Ticket King. You go to cheeseheadtv.com, find the link to Ticket King, about halfway down the page, and you'll land on Ticket King, the best resource for any Packers game you want to go to, whether it's the preseason, if they make a postseason run, any regular season game, home or away. They're located physically right across from Lambeau Field. They've been doing business since 1992. And they got all your Packers ticket needs taken care of. Ticket King. Check them out. Did Packer fans of the 1980s talk about wasting James Lofton's prime? No, Chris. What they did was celebrate how awesome it was having James Lofton on the team until it wasn't so awesome having him on the team. Holy cow, that's, what is, John, I don't know why this is censored, but can Jair Alexander potentially be a Darrelle Revis type for Pettin in his defense? And who is the bitch kitty going to be this year? Two-part question. I'll take the second part first. The bitch kitty, if you are not familiar, references a term that Mike Pettin utilized when he was here in New York as the defensive coordinator for the Jets, something that he had on his wish list heading into the draft. And I don't really think there is one on Green Bay's personnel, but I do think he'll utilize this front very similarly the way he did in New York back in 2009. Lots of differing types of guys up front. He's going to be able to utilize all their different athletic abilities in a variety of different ways. And as far as your first part of your question, Jair Alexander potentially being a Darrelle Revis type, woo! Let's slow down. And it's funny you mentioned that because the title of this stream was "Don't Confuse Potential or Promise for Potential." Look, Jair played very well at times last year, but I think the hype's kind of leaving the station a little bit with Jair. People keep pointing back to that Rams game, and rightfully so. He played out of his mind. He played very, very well against a very good opponent. But go back and watch that game and see how different it is comparative to other games throughout the season where he was adjudicated differently, refereed differently. He was allowed to get away with a lot of contact in that game that he was not allowed to get away with in other contests. And that's not to say that he can't adjust or he can't figure out, hey, this crew calls things a certain way, I got to adjust my game, blah, blah. That could all happen. But don't for a second think that Jair Alexander has arrived as a premier corner in the NFL or even come close to it. Again, the potential is there, the roof is there, the ceiling, it's all there in front of him. It's all up to how hard he works and, how he's utilized by Pettin. If Pettin has the trust in him to utilize him in that way, again, just don't get ahead of yourself. He's incredibly talented, and he could reach that kind of level as far as potentially being a premier corner. I'm not going to put him anywhere near the category of Darrelle Revis in Revis's prime, because that's rarefied air. But he could be a very good corner. Let's leave it at that and leave Darrelle Revis out of things when we're talking about Jair. Do you and Pro Football Talk have beef? No beef. Look, I respect the hell out of Mike Florio. I say this all the time. I have said it throughout the years. The way he started his website, incredibly hard work on his part, sold it to NBC, he maintained editorial control. I have nothing but immense respect for how Mike goes about his business. However, I also know that the Packers, as I said on Twitter this morning, have a very engaged fan base. The fact that this show exists, this website exists, and has for over a decade is a testament to how engaged Packers fans are online. Mike knows this. So when this stuff comes out about Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur 2 weeks ago, and he's still talking about it on air today, he knows what he's doing. And you all fall into it. You all just go along and give him the traffic. And literally, I wake up and people are on my Twitter feed going, are you listening to Florio? No, I'm not listening to Florio. I got my own show. And you know what? I know the Packers 5 billion times better than he ever will. Why the hell would I listen to Mike Florio? Why are you listening to Mike Florio? Mike, you do a great job covering the NFL, but you know you do this. You know you take every little kernel of Packers news and blow it up into something it isn't. And hey, again, I respect it, man. You know what you're doing. You've built an empire around it. Kudos to you. Nags, what's the low ceiling and high ceiling for Rashawn Gary? Ooh. I don't know if you're talking production, you're just talking the player himself, like on tape. It's interesting because you can't really make a direct comparison with how I think he's going to be used by Pettine in this defense. He's going to be very versatile with him, right? He's going to probably stand him up on early downs, kick him inside, let him fight it out there on third downs, obvious passing downs. So I don't think he's going to get the kind of opportunities that many of the premier pass rushers will. Say on third down, you want to kick him to the opposite side where the weak tackle is and let him pin his ears back and get after the quarterback. I think he'll have those opportunities, but I think they'll be a lot less than most guys. Look, could all the fears around Gary become true, and the fact that he had no or very limited college production continue into the NFL? Absolutely. That's definitely a possibility. You'd be a fool to say, to completely dismiss that. But I do think that he has landed in the perfect spot with Mike Pettine to unlock maybe not Muhammad Wilkerson level type production, but close to it. I bet Zook listens to Florio. I love you guys. Oh my God. Oh man. What was it like being a Packers fan when Barry was in his prime? Matt, let me tell you something. One of the greatest days ever as a young Packers fan, or a younger version than myself at the moment, was the playoff game when they held Barry Sanders to -2 yards rushing. I'll never forget being in Luke Laga's living room, watching it with Luke, his dad, his mom, his sister, and Barry freaking Sanders could not gain a yard against the Packers defense. That was one of the greatest days. Because Barry Sanders made our lives hell for so long, that afternoon is one of the greatest moments ever in Packers history, bar none. Oh, God, I'll take one or more. Get McGinn on. No chance. Bob McGinn wouldn't come on when we were talking and friendly. He's not going to come on now. Please. Talk about O-line depth, please. Well, Will, I'll tell you what. You worry about the tackle depth. You look at if Bakhtiari or Balaga were to go down, you got to think they'll probably kick out Billy Turner to either side. You can't count on Jason Spriggs. And as much as I think Turner is a upgrade over Spriggs, he's a bit of an unknown. Now, he's played some tackle. There's tape out there, but obviously it's in a different system. It translates somewhat to what I think LaFleur is going to want to do, but it's a bit of a mystery, and that's the one spot where I'm a little worried. On the interior, Lindsley hasn't missed a snap in 2 years, so you have to think sooner or later that's going to have to happen. I think Jenkins, although he hasn't been running at center in minicamp or in the OTAs, he's got lots of experience at center, so he could step in a pinch. They've had a bunch of other guys working at center, McCray, etc. And at guard, I think they've upgraded with Turner. And getting Cole Madison back, early returns there are good, although we have to see the pads come on. So I'm far less worried about the interior. I do worry about depth tackle. Now, all of that said, that's the NFL today. And actually, comparatively, looking around the league, Packers are doing all right. Could it be better? Absolutely. But, there's a lot of suspect line play out there, and there's a lot of teams that, have little to no depth along the offensive line. So the Packers are right there, maybe doing a little bit better than most. That would be my assessment of the depth along the offensive line. All right, everybody, I'm going to have to jump. Thank you so much for all the questions. I'm sorry if I couldn't get to yours. I'll be back on Wednesday with some more Packers Daily. I'll do some extra cheese tomorrow. In the meantime, please check out cheeseheadtv.com and, like, subscribe, share on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you are on the internet. That's where we want to be. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great night.